Hey man, the hardest moment for a woman is not always the breakup itself. It is the moment she realizes the version of you she used to control is gone. That is when her behavior changes. Not when she first leaves, not when she first goes cold, not when she first says, I need space. No, the real shift happens later. It happens when she starts to feel that your silence is not a tactic, your distance is not a phase, and your emotional system no longer reorganizes itself around her moods, her absence, her little hooks, or her need for reassurance. That is when the mask slips. Because as long as she believes she can still reach you, still trigger you, still soften you, still get a reaction, still press the old buttons, and get the old version of you back, she feels safe. She feels like the door is still cracked open. She feels like even if she walked away, she still owns a room inside you. But when she realizes she does not, that is when her treatment changes. And this is where most men get confused. They think she suddenly misses them in some pure romantic movie scene way. Not always. A lot of the time, what hits her first is not deep love. It is disruption, ego disruption, access disruption, habit disruption. She is not just feeling your absence, she is feeling the loss of predictable influence. The old version of you responded. The old version of you checked, watched, waited, cared visibly, stayed emotionally available. The old version of you could be activated. Now he is gone, and that is the part she struggles with. So the first way she often treats you when she knows she has lost you is with loud indifference, fake calm, fake coldness, the fake detachment. She acts like none of it matters. She becomes strangely dismissive. Maybe she posts as if life has never been lighter. Maybe she says something like, he's doing him, I'm doing me. Maybe if your name comes up, her tone gets casual in a way that feels too polished to be real. That is not peace, that is performance. Real indifference is quiet. It does not need to announce itself. It does not need witnesses. It does not need to sound sharp. When she is truly over you, she is not trying to manage the image of being over you. She just is. So if her indifference feels theatrical, that is because it usually is. What you are seeing is not calm. It is a woman trying to act emotionally untouched while something inside her is noticing that your old availability is not there anymore. But that is just the surface. The second sign is where it gets more interesting. She starts checking the connection without checking the connection. This is where the little hooks appear. A random text, a strange like, a reaction to an old story, a hope you're doing okay, a fake practical excuse, a question she could have asked anyone else, a message that says almost nothing but means everything, and this is the part you need to understand. Most of these messages are not about the content, they are about the door. She is not mainly asking the question she typed, she is checking whether the emotional doorway she once had is still unlocked. That is what most men misread. They think, she reached out, she must really care. Maybe. But often what she cares about first is whether her old position still exists, whether she can still enter, whether you still respond on cue, whether your nervous system still lights up at her name the way it used to. That is what she is checking. Because if she can still do that, then in her mind, she has not fully lost you. And when she gets nothing back, or something calm and clean and emotionally unreachable, something in her shifts again. Now the old map stops working. And when the old map stops working, she usually moves to the third behavior, performance. This is where she starts displaying, not living, displaying. She posts harder, looks happier online, seems louder socially, pushes a new glow, shows a new crowd, sometimes even a new man. Not because she is overflowing with peace, but because she wants the feeling of being watched back. That is why so many men get thrown off here. They see the posts, the pictures, the sudden energy, and they assume she is thriving. Sometimes she is, but often if the display looks a little too curated, a little too strategic, a little too immediate, what you are really seeing is image management. Because genuine happiness is absorbed in living. It is not obsessed with being seen. If she is putting on a show right after feeling your emotional absence, chances are the show is not mainly for the world. It is for the wound. It is for her own ego. It is her trying to prove, first to herself, that she is still winning, that losing your attention did not cost her anything, that you did not actually matter that much. But if she truly believed that, she would not need the performance. Now here comes the shift a lot of men fall for. Sudden softness. The tone changes, the energy gets warmer, her words become kinder. She sounds more reflective, more respectful, more tender, sometimes even nostalgic, and weak men mistake this for love returning. Not so fast. When a woman knows she has truly lost you, softness can become a recovery tactic. Not always because she has transformed, often because hardness is no longer working. Coldness did not pull you back, indifference did not shake you. The old attitude no longer gets results, so now she reaches for softness. This is where she says things like, "I've been thinking," or "I know things got weird," or "I hope there's no bad blood," or "I didn't realize things would go this way." Be careful. Softness is not always sincerity. Sometimes it is strategy wearing a gentle voice. And the way you tell the difference is simple. Does the softness come with accountability, consistency, and changed behavior? Or does it just come with emotional convenience the moment she feels your detachment is real? Because genuine care builds slowly. Desperation shows up suddenly. And if her whole tone only changed once she felt your emotional absence, then what she is reacting to may not be love, it may be loss of access. Now let's go deeper, because the next behavior is one of the clearest. She starts trying to re-enter through memory. Old jokes, old photos, old songs, old places, old language that only the two of you used. Small reminders of moments that once belonged to both of you. This is not random nostalgia. This is memory reactivation. Why? Because memory is emotional leverage. She knows the past contains versions of you that were softer, warmer, more reachable. So if she can get you back into that emotional room, even for a moment, she may be able to reopen the old circuit. That is what she is really reaching for. Not the memory itself, the emotional state the memory can trigger. And a lot of men get trapped here because they confuse emotional familiarity with genuine reconnection. Very different things. She is not always reaching for you. Sometimes she is reaching for the version of you that used to belong to her. That is why this part matters so much. If you do not understand the psychology here, you will mistake reactivation for remorse. And those are not the same, but keep watching because the next move usually exposes more than all the others. Provocation, a little jab, a weird comment, a subtle insult, a backhanded joke, a dismissive tone, a strange attitude that seems designed to irritate you. Why? Because if affection does not get a response, irritation might. She does not always need a loving reaction. She just needs proof of influence. Anger still proves influence. Defensiveness still proves influence. Over-explaining still proves influence. Even hurt can feel better to her than silence because hurt means she can still move you. This is why some women get meaner after they feel you slipping away. Not because they are strong, because they are scrambling. They would rather spark a fight than sit in the reality that they no longer pull emotion out of you on command. And this is where your calm matters more than ever, because calm is terrifying to someone who used to move you easily. Not fake calm, not cold revenge, real calm. The kind that does not rush to defend, react, explain, or chase the meaning of every weird signal. The kind that lets her little sparks die in the air because there is no old emotional gasoline left to catch fire. That is when she starts feeling it for real. Now another shift comes in, and this one is more subtle. Curiosity disguised as care. Suddenly she wants to know things. How you are, what you are doing, who you are around, whether you are seeing someone, whether you are good, whether life is moving for you. And again, a weak man hears care, a sharper man hears inventory, because the deeper question underneath all of that is this: has someone replaced the position I used to hold? That is the question bothering her. Nothing unsettles a woman faster than realizing she is no longer central in the emotional world she once influenced. That is why another woman's presence, or even the possibility of another woman's presence shifts her whole treatment of you. Suddenly the curiosity turns sharper, the tone turns strange, the jokes feel loaded, the questions have tension in them, because now this is not just about losing you, now it is about being replaced. And replacement wounds pride badly, especially when she assumed you would stay emotionally parked where she left you. Now let's talk about a move a lot of men completely misunderstand: vulnerability. This is where she suddenly opens up, talks about her pain, her confusion, her struggles, her fears, her loneliness, her regrets. She sounds raw, exposed, human, and because a lot of men still have protective instincts attached to her, this works, fast. But hear me clearly. Vulnerability that arrives only after control disappears is not always intimacy. Sometimes it is a retrieval method. She is not always opening up because she deeply trusts you now. Sometimes she is opening up because she knows your heart used to answer suffering with access. That is the mechanism. She knows your compassion. She knows your softness. She knows the version of you that did not want to see her hurting. So when other tactics stop working, vulnerability becomes the new entry point. Now, this does not mean she is faking every tear. That would be too simple and too stupid. Human beings are more mixed than that. She may actually feel pain. She may actually be confused. She may actually be hurting. But your job is not to get hypnotized by the pain. Your job is to read the timing, the pattern, and the context. Why now? Why only after silence? Why only after detachment? Why only after she feels the door closing? That is what matters. And once you start seeing those patterns, the next behavior becomes obvious too. She rewrites history. This is one of the clearest signs that the ego is under pressure. Suddenly the relationship was not that deep. You were not that important. She was the one trying. You changed. You got cold, you became selfish, you made things impossible, you were too much, too intense, too distant, too unavailable, or somehow all of those at once depending on the day. Why does this happen? Because truth hurts her current position. If the real story is that she lost a man who emotionally outgrew the role she had in his life, then her ego has to sit with that. So instead, she edits the story, not for honesty, for relief. Yeah, she has to frame the loss in a way that protects her pride. And the strange thing is, sometimes she even believes her own rewrite for a while. That is how people work when the truth is painful. But even then, the behaviors keep leaking. The watching, the checking, the re-entry attempts, the curiosity, the odd tone, the little hooks. Those things expose what the words are trying to hide. Now here is another layer almost nobody talks about. When she knows she has lost you, she often starts mirroring your frame. If you became quieter, suddenly she posts about peace. If you became more focused, suddenly she talks about growth. If you became detached, suddenly she acts detached. If you became disciplined, suddenly her whole page sounds like self-respect quotes and healing energy. Why? Because she is reacting to the strength she can no longer control. She sees the version of you that no longer bends, no longer spills, no longer collapses around her. And instead of accepting that she has lost access to that world, she tries to imitate the energy so she does not feel left behind by it. That is not always growth. Sometimes it is emotional camouflage. And you can tell because real growth is steady. Reaction is erratic. One day she sounds enlightened. Next day she is posting something pointed, then she is calm again, then she is checking your page, then she is gone, then she drops a breadcrumb. That inconsistency tells the truth. Now the next one is ugly, but real. Subtle sabotage. When she fully feels the loss, sometimes admiration and bitterness start mixing together. She sees that you are still moving, you are still building, still steady, maybe even stronger than before. And if she cannot get access back, a part of her may want to reduce your shine in other ways, not always with direct attack, sometimes with tone, framing, suggestion, small shadows thrown on your name, small attempts to make sure other people do not admire what she can no longer reach. This is not power, this is injury. Because when a person cannot control your reality anymore, sometimes they try to control the story around it. But the stronger you stay, the less that works. Calm exposes bitterness. Consistency exposes distortion. Silence exposes pettiness. She ends up revealing more about her position than about yours. And then finally, you reach the strangest phase of all. Quiet watching. No big text, no big drama, no obvious move, just presence at a distance. She sees your story, lingers in your orbit, knows more than she should, comes close, then goes silent, watches without entering. This is one of the clearest signs that the loss has become real. She is no longer testing because part of her already knows the old control is dead. She is no longer provoking because your calm gave her nothing. She is no longer overperforming because even the show got tired. Now all that is left is silent awareness, and that awareness carries weight. Because by this point, she understands something she did not understand earlier. It is not just that you left. It is that the emotional version of you she used to know cannot be brought back by pressure, nostalgia, softness, guilt, vulnerability, curiosity, or performance. That is the real loss, not the relationship, the loss of emotional access. And once that truth settles in, her treatment changes again. It becomes heavier, less noisy, less clever, less playful, less arrogant. Sometimes she does not even know what to do with you anymore. She no longer knows which tone works, which move works, which signal works. And that confusion often turns into the final form of treatment, respect mixed with regret. Not loud regret, not dramatic regret, heavy regret. The kind you can feel in eye contact, in hesitations, in the strange seriousness that appears where ease used to be, in the way she no longer treats you like a man she can casually activate, in the way she senses that the version of you who once gave her easy access is gone for good. And that is where most men think they have won. But the deeper win is not that she regrets you. The deeper win is that you no longer need that regret to feel whole. That is the real power shift, because if you still need her panic, still need her jealousy, still need her to watch, still need her to regret, then emotionally she is not fully gone from you. The old circuit is still alive. You are still measuring your value through her treatment, but the man who has truly risen stops living there. He notices the behaviors, he understands the psychology, he sees the pattern, but he does not build his identity on it. That is stoicism, that is self-respect, that is masculine peace. So yes, when a woman knows she has lost you, her treatment usually runs through stages. First the fake indifference, then the little hooks, then the performance, then the softness, then the memory plays, then the irritation, then the curiosity, then the vulnerability, then the rewrite, then the watchful silence, and finally the heavy respect that comes too late. But none of that is the point. The point is what had to die in you for that shift to happen. The reactive version, the waiting version, the hoping version, the version that still lived under her emotional weather, the version that could still be pulled with one soft text, one nostalgic memory, one sad tone, one little performance. That version had to go. And when it does, her treatment changes because the power dynamic changes. Not because you played games, not because you punished her, not because you tried to break her ego, but because you finally stepped out of the emotional seat she assumed you would always occupy. That is why her energy changes. She is not just facing your absence. She is facing her failed access. She is facing the death of influence. She is facing the fact that the version of you she could once trigger no longer exists. And brother, once a woman feels that for real, she never sees you the same way again. Not because you became cruel, because you became unreachable in the only way that matters, in spirit. And that is why the greatest revenge is not anger, not words, not proving anything, not showing off, not trying to make her hurt. It is peace. Cold, clean, grounded peace. The kind of peace that no longer bends. The kind of peace that does not answer every hook. The kind of peace that does not explain itself. The kind of peace that has already walked too far inward to be dragged back by someone who only noticed your value once your access was gone. That is what stays with her. Not your last message, not your last argument, not your last speech, your peace, because peace is what proves she truly lost you.